Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning. Thank you for joining the POMcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. It's a great day in the palatial Central Florida studios. It's actually quite nice out today, about 81 degrees. It's supposed to flirt with a little bit the 90s this week. So I imagine that the pool is going to get a workout this weekend. But thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, I am your host, Stephen Willis. There we go. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Ole Miss reaching 20 wins in a row. The SEC record is 24 with a win over Arkansas State. They beat them 12-1. JRP hit a bomb. Kel Baker hit a bomb. TJ McCants was legit. Jacob Gonzalez was smooth at shortstop. You can see why he won the job. And Drew McDaniel was, I don't want to say perfect, but he was very good. I mean, he hit his spots. Arkansas State over 9 innings combined for 3 hits. And let's see exactly what the stat line says. 3 hits. They had 4 errors. They did struggle a couple of times when Ole Miss was putting up cricket numbers, having decent innings. Ole Miss went for 1 in the first, 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 3 in the fifth, and 3 in the eighth. Arkansas State did hit a home run in the fourth that made it 4-1 at the time. And that was Hicks, who plays catcher and leads off. So that was pretty cool to me. You know, you don't often see the catcher leading off for a team. So that was pretty neat. Justin Bench had a couple of RBIs. Jacob Gonzalez went 1 for 4, but he didn't have an RBI. Kevin Graham, 3 for 4. Tim Elko, 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. Hayden Dunhurst, 1 for 4, got an RBI. 1 for 4, Hayden Leatherwood. He was taken out of the game for John Rice Plumlee, who hit the 2-run bomb late in the game. Kel Baker hit a home run. He was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And TJ McCants was 2 for 5, the true freshman, that was competing for that starting shortstop role that has been just so stocked over the last couple of years with Ole Miss. So you can just follow just one after the other, making it. Drew McDaniel went 4 in the first, 4 in the third, gave up 2 hits. He gave up the home run, had 8 strikeouts. Jackson Kimbrell, 1.2 shutout innings. Cody Adcock got a shutout inning. Wes Burton had a shutout inning. Tyler Myers came in for a shutout inning. 2 hits against Drew McDaniel, 1 against Tyler Meyer, who's coming back from Tommy John surgery. Ole Miss ended up with 18 strikeouts, it looks like, over the course of the game. So they pitched the ball really well. It's not bad for a midweek. Basically, it's a whole bunch of guys that didn't get work over the weekend. And not only that, but during the weekend we had the long relieving game, which taxed our bullpen, which should have got them work. You see some guys that are capable of doing it and doing it at a high level. So that's encouraging for sure. And, of course, you know, the story of the night was John Rice Plumlee hitting a bomb, and it was a no-doubter, had the bat flip. I mean, what can you say? That Ole Miss looked like the number 1 team in the country, period. They didn't play their best. It wasn't high-flying. They didn't play their worst. They just middle along and won the game 12-1. 11 hits, They did what they were supposed to do to I think a Sun Belt team. I think Arkansas State's in the Sun Belt. But anyway, leading off the show, we're supposed to get to this a little earlier. You can follow us on Twitter at the Stephen Willis. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. Of course, you can catch us on YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Hit the bell for notifications. You'll always know when we're streaming. And the title will come up to tell you what we are streaming if you're interested in it. So it's pretty cool. Subscribe, hit the bell, do that. We did a baseball check-in that did pretty well on Periscope. Fifth inning on. We expected a drop off there, and it was a little bit later at night. It's called Willis Media, named after Juan. And what we're going to do is my show and my stuff will all be there, and it'll be a Positively Ole Miss. I intend to have a good time with this up to Ole Miss stuff. It's about anything about Lou Pro after the Arkansas game. Rumors, they're gossiping. You know, if you want to worry, I'll give you something to worry about. That, but we're going to set up. So basically, I have the ability to put those going to go to the by providing and doing that I can sell to people. Another podcast, you can do all of that stuff, and that'll be in a universal package where that's what I'm talking about whenever I say my platform. But we're going to do that. We're going to cover through the POMcast as well. We're going to do our own thing, and we had Chris Thrasher, John Rice, so that was pretty neat. But they looked like they were supposed to look. They looked like a number one team. They didn't have the drop off that sometimes to see. But you have to keep it going. They have Central Florida, I think, is 1-3 at the moment, something like that. Coming into Oxford this weekend, and then a midweek game the following week. I say that because Ole Miss won its 20th in a row last night. If we can sweep Central Florida and then win our midweek game, we can tie that record. And then we just have to win Friday night to break it. And then Ole Miss will hold the all-time winning streak for college baseball in the Southeastern Conference. Now, it's like I said, I've been saying that it's happening and while it's happening, so you can always look back on it when it ends, because it's always going to end. It's always going to go away. Everything is said, and you can take this experience, and it's a memory that you'll have for a lifetime. Now, am I saying go and act a fool? And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying enjoy this. Do what you have to do to enjoy it. If you enjoying it requires you putting memes of, it's just a fun time to be an Ole Miss fan. And like I said, I think 2 days ago, this started with the baseball team back when. Everybody likes to give Lane Kiffin credit for this being a fun program. This was, just going crazy all over the field, and it's just carried over. It's turned into a little bit of swagger, and it's turned into a little bit of vitriol. And what I mean by that is other teams are really upset, and the fan bases, they're upset with Ole Miss because they think Ole Miss is showing them up. Ole Miss isn't showing them up. Ole Miss is doing the same thing they always do. They won games, and now they're winning games. There's nothing new. There's nothing at the other team. It's just kids having fun. But they do the obnoxious fun thing. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. These are college kids. They're not being paid. They should absolutely be having fun. And if they have fun, they win. As Houston Nutt once said at a press conference, the way you spell fun is W-I-N. So it's a little bit of both. And they're also playing at a high confidence level. I'm a person that believes a lot in confidence in the performance of a player. And more so than momentum, more so than just about anything else in sports, confidence is the most important thing. Because if you believe that you can do something, truly believe that you can do something, your percentage of being able to actually accomplish that is much higher. if you genuinely think you're going to win the game, and there's just no doubt you're going to win the game, you're going to go out there and go 2 for 5, or whatever you're going to do. You're going to go out there and strike out 8. If you truly believe that, it is a much higher percentage that it actually happens. It's more important than momentum, more important than anything else. That's the reason sports psychology is the thing. Because inside the player's head, if you get inside the player's head and drop that confidence down to where you don't think it can happen, you become a worse player. That's why sports psychology is a thing. So, Ole Miss defeated Arkansas State, 12-1 last night. It was a really good game. I enjoyed that quite a bit. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Ole Miss Vanderbilt game and what we can kind of expect in there and what we need to do. But after the break, we'll get to that, and stick around.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
And that number is dropping.
Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese. We spend 6 hours a day in front of a screen.
As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents.
But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop.
Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis from Positively Ole Miss. We're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
All right, welcome back to the show. Ole Miss versus Vanderbilt this weekend, this Saturday at 2:30 Central Time. That's 3:30 Eastern. I put the Eastern times in there for my benefit, basically, because time zone coming to you live from the palatial Central Florida studios. I'm excited. Ole Miss obviously should win this game. All right. I think Vanderbilt is 6-12. Ole Miss is 13-9. Had 3 straight wins over ranked teams. The only loss being Mississippi State, who's playing better. After their Vanderbilt debacle, they're playing a little bit better. And it's important to know that it's important to know that you can't play down to your competition. Like, Vanderbilt's playing better. They legitimately are. After they drubbed Mississippi State, they're a scary team, and they shoot the 3 ball very well. And we're going to Memorial Gym, which has been a house of horrors for Ole Miss over the years. They have Scottie Pippen. It's a raised floor. It's a weird environment. But if Ole Miss can win that game, by 1 point or 50, it doesn't matter. Just get out of there with the win. Ole Miss is sitting at 14-9. And that doesn't mean that much to you. I understand that. But I'm about to point something out to you. If you look at the net rankings, I should have been a little bit more prepared. I'm sorry. But if you look at the net rankings, one thing I've noticed, Ole Miss is coming in right now at number 57. They're on the back end of the bubble, but they jumped up 2. They jumped Stanford overnight, and Xavier dropped down, who's 12-5. So But if you look at the net rankings, so Ole Miss is 57. If you go up to number 39 is Penn State. They're 8-12. That team is not going to go to the tournament despite their net ranking because they are 8-12. Go up a little higher, Maryland is 13-10. It's kind of the same ballpark as Ole Miss. But you have teams above Ole Miss that have a losing record in some cases. And, 8-12 and being number 39 in the net is kind of upsetting. But Ole Miss is moving up. The point is, the bubble is always going to be mediocre. So this is going to be a crapshoot. It's not over. It's not a sure thing. The Mississippi State game took them out of the lock category and put them in there in this washing machine that mixes up all the teams. So if Ole Miss takes care of business against Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and the team to be named later, because there's a game on that Wednesday night before the SEC tournament, we just don't know who it's going to be. It could be LSU. It probably needs to be LSU, to be honest. But Ole Miss is in need of a quad one win. And as it sits right now, I think it's 1 through 33 at home. It would be a quad one win. LSU is 3-6 in quad one games against quad one teams. They are 1-1 and 7-0 and 3-0 in quad 2 through 4. So they take care of the teams they're supposed to take care of. Ole Miss is 2-2 versus quad 3, 1-1 versus quad 2. They lost one of their quad 1 wins because Missouri has kind of fallen down to 46. So they dropped below that 33, so it's no longer a quad 1 win. So that's one of the reasons after you beat Missouri that you didn't jump as high as you thought you would, because that win got devalued. Now, the one in Missouri, that's still a quad 1 win, but it devalued the one in Oxford because, Ole Miss could have been 3-4 in the quad 1 games, and that's a good record. There's not many people in quad 1 games that have a winning record until you get up towards the top. Fun fact also, Loyola Chicago is 17-4 and number 10 in the net. But that's the thing. We're going to do a virtual watch party this weekend. Me and Chris and maybe Darby. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. I haven't confirmed one way or another. But at the worst, it'll look like it did Wednesday night of me and Chris just going back and forth watching the game. If we can get Darby and if he has time to do it and things like that, we'll do a little recruiting hit. He might try and get him to come in for a little bit or something. But it should be kind of fun to have. But that'll be our virtual watch party against Vanderbilt Saturday. Notice we didn't do it one last night because baseball games are so long. I mean, I think that game last night lasted 4 hours and it was 12-1. So we did a little check-in in the middle, about the 5th inning, about 5 minutes, just like what's going on, what's impressing you, what do we need to think about. And then we did a reaction show at the end, so you can tune in for that. It's just kind of fleshing out the level of show we want to do for you. And as this grows and everything, and as I just basically can get people to help me out, if you want to take ownership in something, I will be here to help you out. So that is the way that works. I'm going to give you probably about 5 minutes back today. Thank you for listening, but I've got to go to the VA and get my identification done at lunch today. That's up in Lakeland. That's a little ways away. So probably need to get on that as quickly as possible. So tune in tomorrow for the POMcast. That's Friday. Saturday, the virtual watch party. And we're We don't know what we're going to be doing for college baseball this weekend against Central Florida, but we're probably going to be doing something. It might be a little hit. If I can find a college baseball czar and somebody that I trust to break down the game, I will give him that analyst spot and just let him go for that. I mean, that's something that we need to do. We need to get a higher level of analysis on the show, and we understand that, but it's going to take a little bit of time. You know, everything is a little bit slow in building, and like I've been building this since I don't know, March. So we're almost a year in, and we're at this point. From groundwork to this, we have built it in a year. Invested $25,000 in equipment, the whole 9 yards. You know. So we're just methodically going to keep pushing this forward. We're going to keep doing it. Always no content to you. We're never going to ask you to go to a second location. We're never going to make you feel anxious, and we're never going to make news up. And that's, you know, our promise to you. We're, you know, if bad news happens and somebody is actually leaving, somebody is actually doing something, yes, we'll tell you about that. We have no issue doing that. If you need proof of that, go back to listen to the reaction show after the Arkansas game. I mean, that was a tough we got notes. But we did point out in there, it's like he had a horrible day, but we did point out that Archie Manning did the same thing. So, anyway, we're going to go get an ID. We're going to have a good time and stand in line, do a little hurry up and wait. We haven't done that since we got out of the military. And until tomorrow, hotty toddy.